Grand risings, everybody. This is Mystical Ariel here to shake the matrix, expand our minds, and make us all think. Boy, oh boy, do we have a great topic today. We're going to talk about manifestations, working within the field. Why do we work so hard? You get told all these tools to manifest, and yet nothing happens. Because it's not tools. That is not how you manifest. You have to understand some things. So let's take a deep breath and let's get into this together. Take a deep breath and hold it. And slowly let it out with your mouth again. Again, this time, let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw loosen, let your chest soften. And just, I am here. I'm ready. So this morning I want to talk to you about something many of us were taught. The field you exist in does not care about your declarations. It does not care about how many times you repeat an affirmation. It does not even care about how loud we pray. No, it doesn't. The field responds to one thing only, and what you are. The frequencies you are broadcasting every moment you exist. So, as we move through this teaching, I want you to ask yourself this question. If my life is not responding to what I want, what am I actually broadcasting? What am I actually broadcasting? Take a breath with me. I want to tell you a story. There was this woman who disappeared. She disappeared from her life without going anywhere. She still showed up to work. She still saw her family. She still walked the same streets, used the same phone, lived in the same house, lived the same way, but did something different. For 30 days, she stepped out of the noise, the frequencies of the world. For 30 days, she stopped whispering her desires to everyone. She stopped talking about what she didn't have. And she stopped repeating the story, one day my life will change. She didn't text her friends about her dreams, her fears, or her plans. She went into silence. Not a dramatic, I'm cutting everyone off silence. A frequency silence. A choice to no longer feed the narrative of lack. For 30 days, she lived like a ghost in her own story. Present in form, but tuning her signals somewhere else. The life she secretly believed she would never actually experience stood in front of her. The job offer that was impossible. The opportunity that should have been out of reach. The connections she thought were the other people, not people like me. What changed? Not her vision board. Not her declarations. Not a long, dramatic conversation with the universe. What changed was her broadcast. She stopped leaking energy in 1,000 directions. She stopped asking the world to validate what she didn't yet believe. She stopped performing desire and started being the universe of her who already belonged there. And that was the moment the field took notice. Not because it heard new words, but because it finally felt a new frequency. Crazy, right? Let's ground in something tangible. In physics, a field is an invisible pattern that fills space and carries information. And there are electromagnetic fields. You live inside them, all of them. And you also generate one as well. See, your heart and brain generate measurable electromagnetic fields and extend beyond your body. And your emotional states change the pattern of those fields. Your thoughts and feelings literally ride as waves of energy and information. So when we walk and talk about frequencies, we aren't just being poetic. We are describing the patterns of your nervous system, the emissions signatures you repeat, the way your heart and brain are pulsing information into the space around you. See, modern research shows that your brain has a default mode network, and the part that lights up when you're thinking about yourself, your story, your past, your future. In people who meditate, who sit in silence, who train themselves to be present, that network quiets down. The constant self-narration softs the mind, stops screaming, me, my lack, my dream, my drama, every second. What happens when that noise drops? Your nervous system shifts out of rehearsing danger and lack. Your emotional baseline changes. That is frequency. Not what you post, not what you say once in the mirror, but what your body and mind are practicing all day long. When this inner pattern changes, your outer life begins to rearrange. Not magically, not because the universe suddenly likes you more, but because your behavior, choices, perception, and energy start lining up with a new reality. Quantum metaphor. So let's talk about this. Let's bring in a metaphor for quantum physics. At the smallest level, particles can exist as waves and possibility multiple potential states. And when you measure them, they collapse into one actual state. People love to say, see, if you just observe what you want, you manifest it. But here's a deeper layer. If you keep observing from the same identity, you keep collapsing reality into the same story. When you constantly talk about one day, when I have this, when I finally get that, nothing ever works out for me, you are observing life through the lens of lack and unworthiness. You are measuring your reality with the instrument of I don't believe I have it yet. So each time you look, each time you tell a story, the wave of possibilities collapses back into the same old pattern. This is why silence is so powerful. When you stop constantly checking, narrating, posting, and asking, you stop collapsing your life into the old identity over and over again. You create space for a new pattern to stabilize, for a different version of you to become the one doing the observing. It's not that the field rewards quiet people. It's that quiet people give the field something different to mirror. So let's talk about the prison you might not even know you live in. Every morning, many of us wake up immediately. Who messaged me? Who liked my post? Who is watching my stories? Who is including me or excluding me? And without realizing it, we pick up a role and step onto a stage. We perform an identity for an invisible audience. We become actors in other people's feeds instead of authors of our own frequency. Psychology calls this externalizing self-worth. Your I am becomes dependent on what others reflect back. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for, am I accepted? Am I rejected? Am I ahead or behind? Am I enough? And that scanning keeps your body in a subtle fight or flight state. Your energy is always reaching outward, asking, am I okay? This is what we mean by you are leaking everywhere. You leak when you overshare your desires because you secretly don't believe they're possible. You talk about your dreams more than you take quiet, consistent steps towards them. You obsess over what others are doing and then feel behind, small or late. From the field perspective, your signals is incoherence. Your words say, I am powerful. Your emotions say, I am sacred and unworthy. Your actions say, I am still begging for permission. Coherence, inner alignment, is when your thoughts, emotions, and actions match. When your nervous system feels safe in life, you say you want. When your body is not rejecting what your mouth is asking for, that is the moment the field cannot ignore you. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became a stable signal. Now let's bring this into spiritual and agnostic lens. Gnosis teaching is, they say there is a divine spark within you. A light from the true source that got trapped in the layers of illusion, programming, and fear. And they speak of a world that is like a dream, a matrix, appearance, and a Christ, a living presence whose message was not perform religion, but to remember who you are. And when you are constantly chasing a label, a following, a role in the system, you are worshiping the external temple. You're asking the dream to tell you if you exist. The agnostic voice whispers the kingdom is within you. The light is within you. The temple is you. Silence becomes a sacrament, not a punishment, but as a remembering. When you go so quiet, you are not being passive. You are turning your awareness inward, back to the place where source, self, and field meet. Here you start to feel, I am not separate from the field. I am part of what writes it. And at that point, manifestation stops being begging. It becomes recognition. You are not pulling something from far away. You are stabilizing into what is already true in a deeper layer of reality. Look at nature, The sun does not announce every morning, I am going to rise. The tree does not post, one day I'm going to be a forest. The river does not explain the intentions to reach the sea. It's like, so I'm going to go down here, and then, I got to go meet the sea up there today. They simply just are their pattern, their existence in their prayer, their frequencies is their declaration. A tree doesn't prove it's a tree. It grows as a tree. And over time, the entire environment rearranges around its presence. Birds nest, their soil changes shape, appears ecosystem form. This is what happens when you stabilize as who you truly are. You stop trying to convince to self to perform. You become a stable presence, and reality quietly recognizes around that signal. How to become a frequency. The universe cannot ignore. Let's bring this into practice. This is not about perfection, it's about pattern. Set aside time each day where you put down the phone away. Do not scroll. Do not talk about what you want. Sit with your breath, your body, your thoughts. And at first you will hear noise, old stories, fears, anger, comparison. Let it come. Do not wrestle it. Just notice. This is what I've been broadcasting. Silence is not empty. It is diagnostic. It shows you your frequencies. Stop narrating with lack and begin to notice how often you say, I can't. It never works. I always get the short end. Use self-deprecating jokes. Talk about your dreams in a way that keeps them far away. For a season, commit to not speaking from lack instead. You don't have to flip to fake positivity. You can simply say nothing. You are not lying. You are refusing to feed the old pattern. Withdraw from comparison. Choose withdraw in your daily life, not to check who liked what, not to study other people's highlight reels, not measure your life against theirs. Every time you compare, you tell the field, I am separate. I am behind. I am less. Instead, bring your attention back to the old, your breath, your step today. What can you do now that is congruent with the life you say is yours? Let your nervous system learn safety in your new life. And when you imagine the life you desire, do it in stillness. Feel what it would be like in your body. Notice if your chest tightens, your stomach clenches, or your mind panics. This is your nervous system saying, this is not familiar, this feels unsafe. And instead of forcing it, gently keep visiting. The version of you imagination until your body begins to relax into it. You're teaching your system, this is home now. I'm allowed to be here. When your body stops rejecting it, your behavior will stop sabotaging it. Live as a quiet yes. And finally begin to move as the version of you who already belongs in this life you desire. Not to prove anything, not to show off, but as a quiet yes. Make decisions from that identity and choose boundaries from that identity and spend your time as that identity. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to convince anyone. Your life becomes the transmission. Just take a breath with me. We've been talking more than listening. Obviously, is what I've been doing today. And what we've all been doing. And we've been performing more than embodying. We've been begging the field to notice us, while your nervous system has been broadcasting, I am not enough. And today, I invite you into a new posture to walk in whispers, to slip out of the noise of constant explanation and performance, to become a quiet, aligned, so deeply coherent that you no longer need to declare your worth. Your presence will say it for you. Remember, the field does not respond to your prayers alone. It responds to your pattern. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Who you are in the silent spaces between the scrolls, between the posts, between the performances is the frequency the universe reads. You are not a prisoner begging the system to set you free. You are a walking broadcast station, and when you finally tune yourself to the truth, everything that is truly yours will recognize you. And if you're ready, place your hand on your heart and whisper, not out loud but inside, I am willing to stop talking. I'm willing to listen, and I'm willing to become the frequency I have been asking for. I'll let the field do what it needs to do. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love. If you haven't already subscribed. Hit that like and make sure you share this with someone who you think needs to hear this. See you guys next time.